Now, there are those who fight it, and as I mentioned before, H.G. Wells mentioned this in The Open Conspiracy, one of his books, where he says, really, if anyone wants to know what's going on, they can find out, because we publish what we do. And they do, it's just that their books are rather boring, and people would rather get their history from Hollywood than open, dusty, old, boring books by bureaucrats, high-level bureaucrats, and movers and shakers in the world. And it's true enough, you can really wade through them for chapter after chapter to get one paragraph of something that's essential to know. That's how things are done. You see, knowledge is scattered deliberately. And that's why it's scattered too, because they don't want the general population knowing so easily what's happening. When you go to the proper universities and you're singled out for the proper tuition as a leader, you're given access to stuff where it's all condensed for you. You don't have to search all over the place looking for bits to put together. But H.G. Wells also said that many will fight and die protesting this New World Order. And that's going to be true as well. That's why, of course, they've got the big military and militarized police forces across the whole world now under the guise of terrorism, because it will come into play when people can't afford to live anymore. And it starts at the bottom level, those on the very bottom, during times of inflation, because you see, it's been declared that we are now in a post-consumerist society. Those who still have cash, more cash, can still consume, of course, but those at the bottom have to consume less and less. So once they get a certain point reached, and I've no doubt at all, universities have been paid millions of dollars over many, many years to do studies. So they'll know the exact percentage points where they hit the general public when riots break out, that it will happen. They will know. So we're run in a very scientific manner, scientific socialism they call it, and the bankers love that because they prefer to deal with countries under socialism, where socialism tends to have a heavy hand on the general population, and socialists are always borrowing from the banks. And today it doesn't matter anyway, because both conservative and everything else, they're all socialist today. That's really it. They're all socialist. So people try to do things in other ways. They think there must be some sort of legality involved. And so they try to become lawyers, etc. Or they go back to the past and try to use old charters that were used before for rights. And they generally get demolished. Some countries more so than others. And there's an article from Britain to do with a guy he was the head of an organization there that tried to go along with the rights for the British people. It says Roger Hayes is arrested and tried in a secret court and then imprisoned, I think all in the one day, But it says at 9:30 this morning, in scenes reminiscent of Stasi East Germany, 2 police cars and 4 policemen from Merseyside Police arrested British Constitution Group chairman Roger Hayes at his Wirral home and drove away. This is the first his family heard of this was at 18:30 this evening via telephone call from a warder in Liverpool prison to say that Roger had been tried and sentenced to prison. All like that. Bang, bang, bang. At no time were the family or any other members of the public informed of his arrest, and it's understood he was tried in a secret court without a jury. Denied the right to argue his case, denied the right to a jury, denied the right for the public to see justice being done. Roger was imprisoned in the secretive Gulag system that Britain has become in 2012. It's been that way for a long time, actually. His crime is that he'd been refusing to pay his council tax because, along with other state taxes, a proportion of the tax revenue gathered is being sent to the European Union, used to fund unlawful wars in Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya and Syria, and promote terrorism right around the world. To pay tax under these circumstances is at the very least unlawful under Section 15-3 of the Terrorism Act 2000. This is as such so you start to try and use their laws, and it doesn't work, folks. These guys, if they want you, they come and get you. They really do. This is as such the present, because they're lawless at the top, that's why. As such, the present government of UK and Westminster is complicit to terrorist action and war crimes, and therefore the payment of taxes to an unlawful criminal regime is itself a criminal act, one in which Roger refused to participate. The state has never forgiven him for the arrest of Judge Peake at Birkenhead Court as part of this campaign. So he is in charge of a particular organization that tries to use their own charter of rights and etc. and the laws of supposedly Britain. And they come and get you. They bide their time sometimes, but they get you eventually, because they can't have you doing that. Because you see, if you get away with it, other people will copy you, and they won't allow that. I mean, your whole purpose under this system has always been to produce and consume and pay taxes. And now it's not so to consume so much, it's simply to produce and have less to spend for yourself, because taxes are going to end up bringing you into austerity, which is post-consumerism. And the cash that you've got left will simply be for basic necessities. That's what they've said. And I've got articles here from the top greenie organizations talking about this that came out from the G20 meeting, the recent one. Now, it says, in addition to his stance on taxes for unlawful purposes, Rogers has also been campaigning for the Lawful Bank, which is a monetary initiative in which money can be issued to the public as credit, rather than as crippling debt under the existing corrupt and fraudulent international monetary system. As chairman of the British Constitution Group, that's the group he belongs to, he's the chairman, Roger Hayes has been an outspoken public speaker warning the British public that their rights and freedoms under common law and the Constitution are being stripped away and replaced by a dictatorship of secret courts operating under administrative and statute law. There's no doubt that its success in alerting ever more people to the dangers of the British EU dictatorship being built by a criminal element now masquerading as British politicians has caused the state to imprison Roger. His challenge to the fraudulent banking system, as evidenced by the criminal acts of Barclays Bank and today's resignation by Arch Bilderberger and BBC advisor Marcus Agius, will also have made Roger enemies with Britain's wide criminal banking cabal. And they've been there for centuries, these dudes. Roger's family is shocked both at his arrest and the realization that Britain is now sliding into a police state where husbands, fathers and other good people can be lifted off the streets and imprisoned. There's no doubt that Britain is further under the control of domestic terrorists in Westminster. And so they're asking that all those who value their freedoms and liberty call Merseyside Police for further information and an explanation of their actions, and also call Liverpool Police Prison to establish Roger's physical safety and well-being. I'll put this link up tonight, and it's got the phone numbers in it for those who want to bombard them. And at least it's the only thing you can do is say we're keeping an eye on what's going on here, because we're under a totalitarian system. It's in every country. Some are better at handling it than others. And the States, of course, is getting awfully big and heavy with the heavy hand of the law, and the people are adapting to it as people do. But in Britain, it's the same kind of thing. They're coming down on it because that's your purpose. You're a slave. You are a slave in this new system, and that is your purpose. You're a lesser being, you see. But that's just the way things really, really are. And an update to it as well. It says the factor of Roger's committal to prisoners slowly emerging. It seems on Tuesday, 26 June 2012, a committal hearing took place at which World Council state that Roger failed to appear. As a result, the judge issued a bench warrant for his arrest, and Roger was arrested yesterday morning instead. The council spokesman either did not know or refused to name the judge. And it's not because, he's just withholding. It's called withholding taxes, because if it was for a fair thing where it was coming back to the people, there'd be no problem with it. That's the whole point of taxes when they first brought them in. You get all this back and services and etc. And of course we're throwing it all over the world. It's now the redistribution of wealth, they call it, through the G20 meetings and all the rest of it. So, and they're building up other third world nations with your tax money as they give you no work at home. So they're completely throwing all their laws and their rules out the window at the top, and they're off on a different tangent altogether. But of course that was always the agenda. So Roger Hayes withheld his council tax rather than refused to pay, as we reported. There's a big difference actually, again, legally, but I don't think it matters if they're after you. The most important fact in Roger's arrest and trial imprisonment is that nobody knows the detail of what happened to him. What were the names and numbers of the police officers that came? What was the court? What was the number of the case? Who was the magistrate or judge? Were any public present to see justice being done? Well, nobody knows. They just grabbed them in a way. Tried by magistrate, and that was it. And they don't even name the magistrate. So that's what they can do with you if they want to make an example of you. And they can do a lot worse as well, of course. And as I say, all you can do is keep an eye and see we're watching you so worse doesn't happen. That's all you can do in this day and age. Really. That's it.